himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so knew off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, and it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Look at Johnson! Haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's gonna do it! Big Barry!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sim Racing for Simpletons Super Formula Championship. It's round 6, and we are here at Road America. It's an American classic circuit, of course, that we could see big steps taken in the championship. Only 2 rounds to go after this one, the Rebel Ring and Interlagos we will be in the next couple of weeks, but for the moment, we are going to be going around Road America. My name is Darragh Thacker, in for Zach Sweeney this week, but Dean Biggles is still alongside me pushing the buttons, as he always is, but we've got an interesting championship picture developing. Carson Keane could put a very big hand on that championship. Of course, he has a nice lead in the championship at this stage ahead of Robert Ridgway. Daniel Whitfield, of course, with Carson Keane's dropped round, currently being a 3rd place in round 3, he's going to gain a minimum of 27 points in this round. And Dean Biggles, you know, it's going to be important for Carson Keane to get a good result, because he could, in effect, win the championship here this evening, or really put his rivals under the cosh.
Yes, he could. Yes, Darragh, I'll call you Dazza from now on, my dear friend. So welcome, and welcome everybody in the chat there. Jamie Long, good luck, and drive fast, sunny side up. Sunny side up, yes. Well, no weather, unfortunately, yet in iRacing. Yeah, Carson Keane could get basically his name engraved on that championship trophy if he gets it all right today. So it's up to Robert and Daniel, and perhaps even Cass Christian there to try to maximize the points there. Anything can happen, obviously, during the races. Can happen and maybe happen. So we shall see soon. They're in the final dying stages of the practice session. I've been practicing for about an hour now, Darragh. I haven't seen many drivers go off track too often during the practice session, so it's looks like it's brewing up to be a good race.
Yeah, and Road America is a track where you don't necessarily see too much difference in the times. There aren't too many corners where you can lose and gain quite a bit of time. Of course, up to Canada Corner, we'll see Cunningham come up now. But it's a track a bit like Silverstone last week, where you've got a lot of straights, a lot of slipstreaming. You think of down to turn 1, then down to turn 4, down the marine sweep, and then down after the kink, down towards the Canada Corner. So there's lots of straights, there's lots of opportunity for a slipstream, so we might see some close times that we haven't usually seen. But, of course, with Carson Keane having 136 points right now, the worst he will have after this race is 163 because of his 27 points, but he could then get either 166 or 170, depending on if he comes 2nd or 1st. If he comes 3rd or lower, he will just take 27 points, because then he will change his drop point round, of course. But that's going to be something that the drivers are going to be thinking of. But yeah, like we said, the likes of people just 2nd and 3rd in the championship, Robert Ridgway, Daniel Whitfield, they've got to perform now, because they've got to put pressure on Carson Keane. So otherwise, throughout qualifying and then the 45-minute race we've got, he's just going to grow in confidence, and that'll carry through to the Rebel Ring and Interlagos, surely.
Yeah, they're going to have to make sure he doesn't get in that important qualifying session on the front row and then just do his thing up the road. And very, very difficult to chase the drivers down once they are up the road. The liveries should load in. I do apologise, it just had a little moment before, just before we loaded in live. So we'll get those correct liveries on there. There's James, you see, going off track a little bit. He's had moments of shine here for the US Air Force pilot in that number 23 machine. So we'll see. So far in the practice sessions, Brian is the quickest, 2/10, but you know, practice is one thing, qualifying is another. See any minute now when they do load over to the qualifying session. And hello,
yeah, James Cunningham.
Yep, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, James Cunningham, you did say he did win round 3, of course. So he does have history and good race results. I mean, Christian Jasper, I should say as well, 2/3. Danny Whitfield 2 seconds, and then Aurora Wade 2 seconds and 2/3. So they're all up there, there or thereabouts. But they've just got to beat Carson Keane, who's got 4 wins and a third.
Easier said than done, isn't it? Easier said than done.
Yeah.
You should get ready for some qualifying when the drivers come back out on track. Yes, they do now.
Andy Yeager. That we may be looking at.
Would you like to take us in a hot lap, perhaps? Then around
a long lap, isn't it, Road America? Quite a long lap in terms of distance. Again, not many corners, only 4 around the circuit, but it does feel like it takes a little bit of a while. But we will see now as Andy Yeager comes through at turn 6 and then turn 7 down towards Hurry Downs at turn 8, of course. Over the calendar, of course, the 8 rounds that we have in the Sim Racing for Simpletons Super Formula League, you have to say that some of the tracks are generally, classic Super Formula tracks like Motegi. Some of them are more classic IndyCar tracks for single-seaters such as Road America, and then also, like last week, more classic Formula 1 tracks in terms of the single-seaters that go to these tracks. But it's a nice range, isn't it? Where we have all 3 main categories of single-seaters from across the world, and we're going to some of their home tracks, which is great to see. But Andy Yeager, he is winding one up here, coming through Thunder Valley towards the final corner to start his first flying lap. But we will have to see. Here we go, through the 5th corner. Big hill, of course, to rise up towards turn 1. Go all the way up there. The cameras don't often do it justice, but it is a very steep run towards the line. He will get his lap properly underway now as he will run down towards turn 1. It's a difficult braking zone, but you've got to get the car rotated because turn 2 and turn 3 come at you pretty quickly. Turn 2, a bit of a nothing corner here, but turn 3 is going to be important to take you all the way down the moraine sweep towards turn 5. One of the best overtaking opportunities on the lap. Under the Cheats Bridge, of course, down towards this moraine sweep. The trees tighten in as you run down towards turn 5, of course. In real life, we had a big crash down here, I think, in the Indy Next Championship this year. Hopefully, no such event this evening. But through turn 5, you then once again rise up the hill underneath another bridge before turn 6, the left-hander. Got to get the car rotated in there. Turn 7 is a bit of a right flick downhill as the drivers will have to keep the car moving through here because it's important to get a good run through turn 8 and turn 9. Which of course is the carousel. Turn 8 here, and Andy Yeager takes that nicely through the Speedville tunnel and then into the carousel. This long right hander, more than 180 degrees of rotation through here, and he will exit there very nicely. Important to get a good run through there because you've got to fly through the kink, one of the most overly committed corners in American racing particularly. But then you come down Kettle Bottoms towards Canada Corner, turn 12, another good overtaking opportunity if you've got yourself an inside line. Of course, an outside, all the way around the outside can be very difficult through there, but through Thunder Valley, through turn 13, Bill Mitchell bend here, the penultimate corner for the final corner, a long sweeping right-hander before you run up the hill once again. Got to get a good exit out of there for a good run towards turn 1. It's a very, very long straight, the longest of the straights from the last to the first corner, and Andy Yeager's first time when he crosses the line is going to be a 1:42.4.
Yes, good banker lapping actually. The quickest so far as some head. Then Christian Jasper comes in, slots in there to the P1 position there. Daniel's now replaced those times. They will start. Carson Keane's on a flyer here. This is going to look like a very good lap if you're setting basically all the purples. Well, if you got your fruity machine at the moment, that'd be a jackpot, wouldn't it? Or if you're in Las Vegas, he'll hear the bells dinging, and he'll hear the bells dinging in his ears. He gets a 5/10 faster, 141 club there for our leading championship leader. Brian is going a little bit quicker now, as you can see on his second lap. 10 minutes of qualifying. You only got about 3 laps at best, so make them count.
Absolutely, you've got to make them count. I mean, Carson Keane, half a second back here. He might be looking for a 1:40 by the end of the session. Of course, we're already nearly halfway through the session because an outlap and one lap just takes that long, at least 3.5 minutes, looking at 4 minutes if you got right out of the box. But still time to improve. Still a couple of, single driver gets to the lap, and that is Brian Long. He had a good qualifying last week in Silverstone. I believe he was top 3 by the end and got through up into second through the first couple of corners. We'll have to see if he can match that good qualifying performance here in Road America in some more familiar home territory. This for Brian Long, of course. Daniel Whitfield, the only English driver on the grid this evening, means that he's waved bye-bye to his home territory and gone across the pond to America. But Brian Long is back home, and he will be hoping to set a good lap time on the board. And in the end, Brian Long's time is good enough for P4. So again, good lap time there for Brian. He is sticking it up there, and he's very close to P4 James Cunningham. I was about to say P3, but that's because Christian Jasper has just improved to P2, and he is now going to be the closest competitor to Carson Keane for now. But
this is going to be
they
39.
all do continue to go.
Oh, sorry, a 40.
Yeah.
This will be a 40. This will be a late 40s, I'd say. He's gone even quicker here for Carson. He wants that front row. There it is. It's actually the 40.8. That's setting a statement here at the moment. He wants to seal the deal, isn't he? He wants to get this championship trophy, and the best way to do it is to put this car on pole and then just run away with the race. What about Robert? He's got a little bit of a purple sector in there as well too, but will it be enough? Enough for P2. He'll take that one. A lot of drivers are increasing their speed, like Christian Jasper here is first sector, but they're not quite making it happen through those middle sectors. That's where Carson Keane is gaining all that extra time. You can see the half a second, literally, he's making it up in all of that parts of the track. As you go around, as you said, the carousel, as we're looking at there, I really, that reminds me a lot of Singapore in the first turns. That just keeps winding and winding and winding and winding. I just like the Singapore turn, actually, probably more that, because then it gets tightened up, turns around, kind of interlagos. Many tracks are very similar anyway.
Yeah. Mugello as well. Mugello final corner. Granted, it's the other way around, but that's a long left-hander, isn't it? Granted, this is a right-hander, but each to their own. You can drive it backwards if you want to, if you're brave. Wouldn't recommend it, especially in an FIA event, but either way. I think we've got a couple of drivers coming up to the line. There are improved runs here, aren't there? With Brian Long actually jumping up to P2 and Daniel Whitfield as well. He's struggling a bit, isn't he? P7, or is he? Has he just gone fastest? Yes, he has gone fastest.
Wow, where did they pull that one from, Dan the man?
I don't know.
Just as Susan pops
and then all of a sudden
to say hello.
Yeah.
Well, that's motivation, Susan. I should put a smile on your face seeing that. He's sporting a different livery this week. Because last week you didn't see it. He had his girlfriend painted the car for him, which I thought was quite lovely.
I did see that in the chat when I was watching it back, actually. But I've just seen Carson Keane's gone back fastest once again, so he's jumped back up once again. Time is ticking down. You've got to be starting your lap pretty soon if you want to be completing it. Robert Ridgway now goes P3 on the times with a low 41, a 41.1 that is for him. Him and James Cunningham Jr. are very close together at the moment, and looking further back as well. Mike Weir, Peter Fedding, and Andy Cody are all very close together, about half a tenth in it between those guys. So very close times for some of these guys, but Carson Keane currently hoping to keep it on pole, but the likes of Daniel Whitfield will be hoping to take it off of him and try and take as many points as he can off of the current championship leader with not long left to go in qualifying. But we now see this is Brian Long coming towards the final corner again. He did well, didn't he, last week?
Yes,
he get a good lap time.
He has been improving, like himself and Daniel have really been improving this series as well too. Of course, Carson's just still the one to beat at the moment, and then let's see if they can get within that 1 to 2 tenths. There's Brian, so he's shaved a little bit out of that. He's in the 3 tenths off. Daniel might be able to go a little bit quicker here. You never say. Seeing all these sectors at the moment, I don't really even guarantee you if you can. No, Daniel couldn't stretch that 2 tenths that he needed. Only a few drivers left. Robert, maybe, perhaps. You can see he's got the purple sector there. He only has to nail this final sector coming up here. Get a good exit out of the final corner. Of course, you want to slow in and super fast out. You want to get on the power as quickly as possible. He's at 4th gear. Here it is, up to 5th gear. Crosses the line. Should be about 160 and change miles an hour. Bingo. It should show him up a little bit here, I'd imagine. Only to P4, but still shaved another 10, so it squeezes him ahead of Brian. And I'll get him on the 3rd row.
Yeah, and that'll be the end of qualifying, I think, for the times, because I don't think anyone's going to be able to get to the line in time. It looks like pretty much everyone's in the pit lane But it does mean that Carson Keane is on pole. Not by much, though. It's only just about a tenth and a half, just over to Daniel Whitfield, Christian Jasper, and Robert Ridgway and Brian Long, all on 1 minute 40s. A couple of Brian Long particularly just sneaking inside on a 40.996. But here we go. Here is the result qualifying the grid for the race. It's Carson Keane, fastest the Canadian driver, hoping to put one hand on that title here this evening. But Daniel Whitfield will be hoping to stop him from P2 on the grid. Christian Jasper and Robert Ridgway P3 and P4, with Brian Long in P5 and Andy Yeager on the third row as well, hoping put himself as a cat amongst the pigeons. James Cunningham in 7th, with Mike Weir, Petter Fedding, Andy Cody and Seth MacFarlane rounding out the 11 drivers in this race this evening. And Biggles, I mean, this could be important for Carson Keane to get a good run off the line, but Daniel Whitfield could get a great launch.
Yeah, and this track is notoriously for overtakes into turn 1 as well. So I do think that, and I've actually casted a couple of races here this week, actually, believe it or not. Somehow, I don't know how it is, but leagues always somehow match the same tracks each week, even though they're probably not even aware.
I've done this track at least 4 times in the last month. So I know exactly what you mean.
It's strange, isn't it? Because it was the other week, the other day, I can't remember which one the track was, that I was just doing the same track for like almost 3 or 4 races in a row. I was like, yeah. Anyway, but considering the race that I've had, the 2 races or so I've had to do, both of in those races, the P1 was overtaken by P2 in the first corner. So it has got a great opportunity. It's all about the launch here, no doubt as well. Getting it off there as quickly as possible. That's where you win and lose races a lot so far we've seen this season. Just getting a good launch. Of course, I don't know how many drivers actually practice that. It's not an easy thing to do. A lot of drivers out there just doing constant laps all the time to go quicker and quicker. But practicing your race starts, and of course another thing I see a lot of mistakes in is the pit stops. They miss the pit stop box a little bit, cost them time. Anyway, we're going to go racing.
Yeah, we absolutely are. Here we go. We've got all 11 drivers on the grid. The lights are ready, and we are away already at Road America for round 6 of the Sim Racing for Simpletons Super Formula League. And here we go towards turn 1. Casper Keane with a fantastic start. Carson Keane, I should say, towards turn 1 he comes. Very comfortably leads, but they're too wide in the background as they run through turn 1. Is everyone going to make their way through? Oh, yes, they're all over the road, but they are just about all through the first corner. Carson Keane is clear of Jasper, I should say, out of the third corner, but that is definitely a spin. That is Cunningham, and he is definitely in the wall. That is not the ideal line for him through there, but his car looks pretty much intact. He'll hope to carry on going, but Jasper is defending P2 from Whitfield, but back here, McFarland is trying to attack Yeager around the outside at turn 5. That'll be a brave move. Goes a bit off the track, and Weir might come through there, but a good start for Keane, and that's exactly what he needed to have.
Oh, he launched it off there. We'll get a little replay of that race start in a bit. He was out of there.
Completely gone. And it's exactly what he needed to try and take the win here. But Christian Jasper is not going to let him get away too easily. You wouldn't have thought. Daniel Whitfield won't be happy about losing P2 off of the line. But a good start as well for Petter Fedding, who's up 3 spots. P6 now, side of P9 on the grid. So he's had a good launch, but at the front, Carson Keane will be hoping to keep that lead. But as we've said, slipstream is important at a track like Road America. You can see here Christian Jasper gaining in that 444 machine down towards Canada corner. But to complete the first lap, Carson Keane will definitely be happiest. It's a long race, of course, 45 minutes to keep going. Robert Ridgway in 4th. He'll be hoping to make up a few spots. Of course, he is P2 in the championship. His worst result of the season is indeed a P4. So, you know, even if he finishes below that, he'll still be picking up 25 points from the drop round. So he's got to keep that in the back of his mind. But he will definitely be wanting to go ahead, particularly ahead of Daniel Whitfield, because he's fighting him in the championship, of course.
I think that Carson Keane got away so quickly at the start there, it's actually given race control, as we're seeing Seth and Andy go for it tooth in now for the battle for 9th place. And I think Seth might have just got it done there on Andy. And he did. Andy could try to come back, no doubt. Sorry, he's got a sneezes there for a second. Robert's applying some pressure there on Daniel. And they've had to start to catch up Christian. I'm just wondering if our race leader, Carson Keane, come off track there a little bit or not. But it doesn't look like it. He's still trying to break that 1 second non-DRS range, so we don't have any DRS here. But yeah, race control's telling me that Carson Keane crashed on the first lap. But I just think it's just registered it because he's gone so fast. We'll get a look at that in a second because I just want to see how well Daniel's going to hold off a very quick Robert Ridgway at this point.
It's good to see through there, actually. You could see it through the carousel. Different lines can be taken. It's such a long right-hander that you can try and double apex it, slow it down a little bit mid-corner, prioritise the second apex, and then the run through the king up towards down in the corner. You can just try and hit as much as you can for as long as you can around there. But, it's different. That is where you can gain and lose quite a lot of time around a track like this. Like through here, turn 13, turn 14, Bill Mitchell Bend, and the final corner. They're generally uniform in the lines you can take. It's just, slow in, fast out. There isn't too much variation. So it's corners like the carousel where we may see a lot of gaining and losing in time.
Look at this. I thought that Jasper's using this like crazy. Because all of a sudden, he's gained a lot of time there on Carson Keane, and I wanted to just jump on board to see if he's using it. Remember, he's limited, so you've got 165 seconds left of it, and he's applying it early, and I think that's very wise, because they are aware in the past, once Carson Keane gets away, he gets away. It becomes very serious. He's breaking the weaving around to its moment, and you've got to look at this in the background. Daniel is now applying the pressure, and this is a great three-way race, as Daniel's going to set up the inside, the contact of all three. 3 into 1 was not going to work at this point. Robert's now taking the lead.
Ridgway's just slipped up the inside.
Yes.
Yeah, Robert Ridgway has gone from 4th to 1st in a matter of
We've got a caution.
And he's now ahead of Carson Keane.
We've got a caution. Yep. Race controls deem a caution. That's probably, because considering we have 11 cars and 3 of them, or if not 4, just got involved in an incident, that's almost half the field, isn't it? Or at least a third. So, well, that's a lot of excitement to look at, for sure. I was just wondering, because you had 2 drivers of the overtake on. We'll try to see whether or not Carson Keane was also using his overtake to defend. But we'll go back to the start of the race, and we'll have a look at this this launch from Carson Keane. And look at that. That's just out of there. Unbelievable. Also a fantastic launch, wasn't it, from Robert behind?
Yeah, it's always the nicest, isn't it, when you launch off the grid and there is no one next to you in turn 1. You can take the apex, not have a care in the world, and just go about your day. But yeah. And
then the accident, of course, occurs a little bit further down here with James. There. I wonder if he got tapped or not. It's hard to see. Let's have a look.
He lost it on the curb there.
Yeah, he lost it on his own. Yeah, and that's on the just curb. Out of the fence too, which is good. He's still in the race.
Yeah. Nicely done.
Now, of course, we want to see what just happened before, so we'll have a look at this wonderful action here with these 3 drivers. If the trees can get out of the way of the chopper cam. Oh, there it is. That'll be interesting. We'll have to slow that down.
Yeah, so Daniel Whitfield there, he kind of went... He broke late, but he didn't turn early, did he, for the corner? He left a bit of room on that inside. Can't see it again here. So look, he's gone for the move on the inside. They're going to be 3 wide. I mean, it's a very brave move. But he's gone and he's locked the brakes and he's just not turned in time. And Carson Keane's tried to turn just to make the corner. And then, you lock the wheels together and there's not much you can do from there. But Christmas has come about, exactly a month early for Robert Ridgway, hasn't it? Up 3 places in the one corner.
Oh, yeah.
It was the 25th of November.
He's still got his overtake on. It caught him off completely with the overspeed he was travelling into the corner. So he had to steer it to the left just to avoid the accident last moment. And, yes, it's 3 into 1 at that point, just caused that incident. So it's a race incident, I'd say. You kind of say, was Daniel a little bit too risky on that one? It's always a difficult thing to say. I mean, you've got to go for a gap as well, too, don't you, if there's a possibility of getting an overtake. So this is on board Carson, and you can see both of these drivers, remember, just absolutely flat out. They have so much speed that they're carrying. You can see the lights blinking as they're using their overtake. And then Carson's the first one to break into the corner, really. And then, of course, he gets tagged at the front there. And he's not the lucky one to get out of that one. And then zooming on by goes Robert. He won.
Is it possible, just thinking about it, is it possible, because we did see there that Daniel Whitfield put some of his tyres on the grass. It could have been possible maybe that he locked up a bit more because of dirty tyres, possibly. That could be. This is going to be a good angle. I definitely want to see this one.
Yeah, this is from Robert's perspective.
My only other reference for this is I've done a race with friends around Road America before, and we were just having a bit of fun. And I was just minding my own business, going down into this exact corner, someone just decided to absolutely send it down the inside, took the 2 cars out in front of me, and it's going to look relatively similar for him. I don't think it was that lap, might be the next lap.
Yeah, I think it's the next lap, actually.
The P4 there.
I'm just trying to find it.
But I am looking forward to seeing this, because this is definitely going to be one of the moments you put on the highlights. For him, see Robert then.
Yeah, Robert's going to look how far back Robert is when this happens. And Robert at this point's going, oh, thank you. I'll take this whole track by myself. It just takes it the inside there and bingo, up on down the road.
But if anything, the person who Carson Keane would have wanted to benefit the least from that is Robert Ridgway, the closest man in the championship to him. Daniel Whitfield is, of course, third, and Christian Jasper is, of course, fourth, but Robert Ridgway, second in the championship. He's the one who's closest to challenging him, so in the end, probably not too happy that the one person to gain 3 positions there was Robert Ridgway, but at the moment there, I think Daniel Whitfield as well is also out of the session, just looking at the timing.
This is Carson Keane. Now, obviously, he's going to have to turn in the corner, and then all of a sudden he's going to see...
damage front wing as well.
Yeah, but if you look at his steering wheel, that's what I wanted to check. He wasn't using any overtake, so it was the other 2 drivers using the overtake to attack. So Carson's probably got a whole bank of that still available, even some P2. He's only lost that 1 place. Now, whether or not he copped any damage during that or not is interesting. But you know that I'm pretty sure I guarantee he's got a whole bank battery pack full, or not battery, isn't it? But full of charge on him. As 2 drivers are in pit road at the moment. Daniel's gone in too, as well as Christian. So they're probably getting their pit stops over and done with as well, remember?
Yeah, they are now a lap down, Daniel Whitfield and Andy Yeager. So that's really not going to help. They're out of the race, in theory, then, from that, because they, on the timing page, at least it says that they've done 3 laps and a tiny bit to go into the pit lane. And
they shouldn't be a lap down. No, they should be on that because all the drivers have just passed.
No, because they pitted on the last lap, they just haven't come out yet. I wonder if they've retired in the pit lane or if the damage is taking that long to repair.
No, it's just it wouldn't retire right now. I don't know you would, because you've still got quite a bit of racing to go. You've still got 34 minutes. Anything can happen. We just saw 3 cars come together, and there's a good chance safety cars breed safety cars. So there's a good chance something can go wrong. All of a sudden, bang, you're back up into the podium position. So we'll just see. They're in the cars still.
Up to see if they move. Yeah.
See, he's got it. There's repairs to do.
Timing tower there. They're 1 lap down. Yeah. Very long repairs. Now, I know the thing. I did see Carson Keane on that onboard from before. It did look like that front wing on the left-hand side of the car was sticking out a bit at the front. So I wonder if he has got... It does look like there's some damage. Or is there? Maybe not. Might have just been my eyes.
Hard to see.
I do need new glasses, to be fair. So that might be what it is.
End plates are attached. But it's difficult because iRacing sometimes... Pitting for damage, yes. Thank you, Shala. Yeah, you can see he's missing a front wing, actually. iRacing isn't very sometimes detailed in showing you the damage because... It's, iRacing's more about the actual driving experience, like the drivers, what they feel inside the car, like how does it feel with the damage. Visually, it's not easy for us to inspect that, but trust me, the drivers are well aware of the damage, and you can see it sometimes too with the steering angle. We had a driver, I can't remember which race it was specifically, but he had damage from practically the start of the race, and his steering wheel wasn't straight the whole time, and he still managed to put in the fastest laps and win the race. So... Even with damage, good drivers somehow find a way of nursing those problems. Well,
and that's the level of skill that I certainly don't have, and that's why I'm sitting up here.
But because Daniel needs a front wing, there's a little difference on that. Can't really nurse that one too much. He's out.
Oh, hello. There's movement. Daniel Whitfield's out of the box, but I do think he's on the top. Oh no, he's not a lap down. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, he should be fine. If he gets to the back in time, then he should be.
They should, I would imagine.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the car stays out for another lap or not.
Oh, they'll definitely catch the pack. Look at that, because look where the pace car is, look at the speed that they're doing. And then you go to the likes of Daniel, look at that. Because Daniel can go full speed.
Look at the gap there, coming down. On the left hand.
Also remember Andy, so these 2 drivers that come together, are going to have a second chance to hopefully not come together, but at least race each other again.
Absolutely. Another man who's benefited from all of this is Petter Fedding. He's up 5 places into 4th. Started in 9th, up to 4th. Having a great race so far. The Norwegian driver. The only mainland... Well, actually,
I
no.
want to see
One of only
from
2 mainland European
Carson's
drivers.
race start here. Let's have a look how he goes up the gears. There's a little wheel spin and he's straight onto it, isn't it? 4th, 5th.
Yeah.
And then look at that, like, bye-bye. But then they started catching him obviously later on when they started using the their power, the push to pass, I like to call it, really. You know, they were using that to really hunt him down, which I think was clever once again, because I do think if you let Carson King go too far up the road, he's going to be almost impossible to catch by the end of the race. So, good time to start attacking early.
Are we back to green flag? We are back to
yes,
green
we
flag
are.
conditions. So that means that it's bad news for Daniel Whitfield and Jaeger. Is that Whitfield back in the pit lane? I think it is. Either way, Carson Keane having to defend here from Brian Long. Brian's going to want to get through, and he's had another good start as well. Benefited from the melee in front, and he's now on for a podium position if he stays here. Of course, there are some high-quality drivers behind him, but they are further back. He's got track position, and that is what's going to be crucial for him as we run through this race. Of course, we are 15 minutes or so into this race, which means we've got another half an hour just over to go. But Carson Keane, he's going to want to take that P1 back. Of course, no part in the incident did Robert Ridgway play, but he's benefited, and Carson probably won't be too chuffed about that one. We'll have to see if he can come back through, but Brian does look much more keen to get through on Carson than Carson is on the race leader, Robert Ridgway.
Didn't take you long to use that pun, isn't it? King, as Peter's gone around somewhere. Oh, that's a big accident. Ooh. He's lost the whole front tire. Let's have a look what's happened to poor Pete. Oh, I swear, I'm going to murder this camera thing. Oh.
Oh.
We've got to fix this camera.
Yeah, that's not lying through that.
Horrible for some reason.
And there goes Will. It's impressive that he was driving that on 3 wheels, though. Oh, no, through the final corner that was. But let's see. It just looks like, just brakes late, drifts wide into that tyre barrier, and that'll be that then. And that'll be him, realistically, out of this race. So he might be back towards the likes of Daniel Whitfield once he comes out. I think Daniel might come through because there's a lot of damage on that car before they come through. But Brian Long is still keen to get through. Now that I've said it, I realise what I said, but I didn't realise at the time that I'd made the pun. Here comes Christian Jasper. Looking for the outside line. Oh, that's a big crash. Oh, my word. Same corner again.
Same corner.
Christian Jasper. Yeah, 2 incidences for him at that corner. And I mentioned, didn't I, a good 10-15 minutes ago, that there was the crash from the Indy Next. Similar to that, although that car went up into the catch fence, that it didn't happen there. We're not having a caution just yet, but now an inside line. Is that for the P5?
Oh, caution. We have another safety car. Another safety car.
That's going to help. That's going to help out Peter Fedding and Cedric Farland there, because they're going to be able to catch up.
And Daniel, because apparently, because Shayla just said out there, because I was wondering why he was boxing again. He apparently she said someone hit Dan during the safety car. So I couldn't see that there. Sorry, Shayla. It doesn't show me anything from race control about an incident during the safety car conditions, but obviously it's correct because he wouldn't go back in the pit road again. He'll have an opportunity now to catch the back of the pack. And of course, Seth can get these repairs done. You think Peter's going to be headed probably into pit road, right?
He'd already done that.
Oh no,
He'd
Andy.
fixed the car.
They already fixed that. They used a fast repair or something. I would imagine.
Maybe.
No, it's not fast repair.
But it's driving. It's got 4 wheels. I don't know quite how it's got 4 wheels, but it does. But we are under caution. Second caution. Robert Ridgway still leads, of course. Because we have a timed race, not a lapped race, it just means that this caution is even better because, you're spending more time per lap behind the safety car, just eating up time that you're not having to defend with. So it's going to be music to the ears of Robert Ridgway. There's a safety car directly in front of him, but Carson Keane won't be too pleased about that. Long, Weir, Cunningham at the back, but yeah, Christian Jasper, 2 instances at turn 5 in this race already. We've not even been going 20 minutes.
Yeah, same corner as well too, isn't it? Now I wonder about that one if you're having a look. That's a tough one.
I think he'd probably argue there that he was going for the outside line. Who was going for the outside? Was he making the overtake? Yes,
Christian goes for the outside.
He's gone for the outside line. I think he's probably going to argue that
I don't. Yeah, that's difficult. You don't
Tough
know
one, that, isn't
because
it?
Doesn't look like
Christian?
Seth. It doesn't look like Seth moved to the right or anything. We'll have a look from Seth on board.
It looked more like a natural drift, didn't it? If anything.
Yes.
Maybe Seth thought he was too far back and wasn't going to go for the move. That is an idea.
This is Seth. Have a look at his steering wheel.
He's on board.
No, Seth just looks like he was committing to the corner as normal. I wonder if that was just a little bit too eager.
Drift, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I wonder off whether Christian was a little too eager on that one. That's. We'll have a look from his cockpit view.
You can see, obviously, because down here, the Marine Sweep, the track does go to the left naturally. So if you brake in a straight line, your car will move to the right ever so slightly. That might be what we've seen. Christian's seen the gap and gone for it, but it's closed as he starts braking, and then there's nothing he can do. But I don't think Seth will be too pleased about it, either way.
No.
That's for sure.
Because he's in pit road at the moment, whereas Andy's back out. So, Seth got the wrong end of the
and Christian is
stick on that one.
Christian's up in P7. So
Yes,
he's
Christian,
not
I mean, yeah.
with a care in the world at the moment.
Christian and Seth, Christian's there, so interesting. So it gives Daniel back onto the same lap, another opportunity, as well as the other drivers have peed out, and so it's just Seth sitting in pit road at the moment there, getting that car fixed. I've got no rear wing, it looks like. Yeah. They quickly get the duct tape out, get that one fixed. I think that this pace car is going to be in soon. We'll see if those lights go off.
Who was it that used the duct tape? I think it happened in Formula 1 this year, actually, didn't it?
Oh, it's always handy, my friend.
Or someone.
Remember astronauts had that on board the space missions, and that helped the Apollo 13.
It could be anything with duct tape.
Yes. So if you can get astronauts in space from the moon back to the planet Earth with a bit of duct tape, I'm pretty sure you could patch up a Formula car.
More lap, it seems.
Robert's gone in. Oh no, he's tricked it. It's just it's to trigger the little race control message.
He's tricked you. He's done you in. That's for sure.
Oh, but Christian's gone in. I don't think he got the damage repaired.
He has gone in.
Did he notice that the pace car? Well, he noticed that the pace car's gone past for another lap, perhaps. So he sees an opportunity to get something done that he might have missed.
See, there he is. He emerges up the hill.
Is he serving a drive
through? Onto pit road. No.
God, it's so frustrating at that speed limit, is that the pit road? Come on,
there we go. Nice coloured tents as well.
Oh, he's taking
but either way, it could be a good idea. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, he'll only lose a couple of positions from it. We'll have to see.
So Seth is out now. So Seth is.
Yeah.
Oh, Seth is out of the race, I think. I don't see him.
No, he's on the track, isn't he? Up near turn 6, turn 7 now.
Nope. Hang
is
on.
he in the pit
lane?
lane?
Sorry, you're right. God, I'm having a real struggle with these cameras on this track sometimes.
That is Seth in that scarlet red car. Hopefully his face isn't a scarlet red after that incident.
He's got Cheetos on the side, if you see the back there. Cheetos.
Yeah, lovely.
I saw that
At least he won't
week.
go hungry, that's for sure.
Yeah. Robert Ridgway's got a hold off Carson Keane. Brian Long can try to attack Carson Keane again.
We're nearly halfway through the race now. 21 minutes and a bit past. So, I think Seth's going to catch the back of the pack here. If he's going slow enough.
Oh yeah, he should. Oh no, well, yeah, that's going to be very interesting.
He's going to be close, but I think he might have a chance here. We'll wait and see. Of course, I think Sedgwick should come in at the end of this lap. Second caution that we've had in this race so far, approaching halfway. Of course, timed race. That's not a factor, just on the time. Robert Ridgway is the leader of the race. He will hope to lead towards the end because he could gain on Carson Keane here. Of course, if he wins this race and Carson Keane comes second, then he will pick up 4 points. If he finishes third, he'll pick up 7. But even if he finishes fourth or lower, he'll still pick up 7 because Carson Keane's worst result so far is a P3. So he'll use if he finishes lower than that this evening, he'll use this evening's result as his drop round. So that's a factor. He can only gain 7 points maximum here. Can Mr. Ridgway. We'll have to see if he can do it. I mean, it will be difficult for him to win the title from here, of course, with Carson Keane winning 4 from 5, I should say. But it's possible. Anything can happen in motorsport, and it usually does. I realise I've stolen that quote, but it's true.
Oh yeah, well yeah, absolutely, and just like that is another reason why the drivers need to give up, because Daniel's back in P8. You know, Peter, Christian, Seth, Andy, all been involved in incidents. They've all been in the pit road. And they're back into it once again. We've seen a couple of drivers already start to come together. So yeah, just to be in it. I mean, I don't think Robert Ridgway, earlier at the start of the race would be saying, "Hey, I will be leading the race after a couple of laps into it." Well, he is. And that's just being at the right place at the right time. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and to be fair, he didn't get far ahead of Keane, did he? Just after that incident, but he got ahead enough to take the corner into turn 6 and take the lead. And then, of course, there was the caution momentarily afterwards. And since then, he's not really looked back. But there we go. Safe guy into the pit lane. Robert Ridgway will take us away for the second time in this race. And he puts his foot to the floor and he is back to green flag racing. Everyone in behind him trying to use the slipstream down towards the first corner. I wonder if anyone's using the button early on here. But as they run down, people ducking out of the slipstream trying to find a line into turn 1. But it is Robert Ridgway who does lead from Carson Keane. An inside line maybe there. Andy Yeager having to defend. And in the end, I think losing the position to Daniel Whitfield, who's up into P7. Very pleased that we have restarted this race with the concertina field. But Carson Keane now, the Canadian driver, the championship leader, looking like he's trying to attack. But Brian Long, I should say, is the one attacking Carson Keane. Down in towards turn 5. We've seen instant after instant here so far this evening. But Brian Long around the outside. Can he pull this one off? It looks like it's a long way around. And no, not this time. Carson Keane controls the inside line and stays in P2. But championship leader doesn't look too comfortable, does he, at the moment?
No, because he's been defending more, I think, than Brian. Brian's been attacking him on these restarts, and I think he's focusing on probably trying to keep Brian behind here. And that's just allowing Robert, of course, to try to get a little bit more of a breakaway here. You also got to remember James Cunningham's lurking in the background too, so he's onto the back there. Dan the man's slicing his way through the field. Of course, you've seen him get past the overtake before on Andy. And he's on the back down Cody now. Probably will be getting past Cody in a minute. We'll have to probably go back if there's anything happening here. No. And here it is. Daniel up on the inside. Job done. Bingo. So he's slicing through the field. Carson now's got a good run. Sorry, Brian had another good run out of the corner on Carson. So, yeah, Dan, just look at that. Just like that, Dan's back up the P6 just when he was sitting in the pit road before with damage. So that's why you never give up. He's had to be in the pit road twice, remember, too, for damage.
Exactly, he's gained 2 positions. Here comes Brian, down towards turn 1. Carson Keane trying to follow the slipstream of the race leader, Robert Ridgway, but gaining too much on him, but helped him stay in front of this P3 man, Brian Long, down into turn 1. But yeah, Daniel Whitfield, the restart he needed, and he's got up past 2 drivers on the opening lap, and he's not far off the rest, only 4 seconds off the lead in P6 for now, and still just about off the race.
Oh, here we go.
So to go.
Carson's got to be using it.
Carson Keane. Yeah, around the outside, he's had a great run, surely using some of his energy. Is he maybe not looking at the dash there? It's a bit difficult to see. Through turn 6 they come, and Carson Keane stays in behind. But now, we do look like we've got to fight for the win on our hands.
I want to see if he does use this overtake, because he may be saving it up. Like, he didn't see him use it before to defend against the other drivers. We shall see. He's got Brian lurking in the background here. We just want to stay on board here for a second if Carson does, because you can see the exit cut that Robert gets. A little bit better that Robert is feeling a lot more comfortable with the carousel. And because look at this, Brian Long. Overtake on. Here it goes. Oh, a little bit of moving around here. He's going to have to commit, but no, the door's being closed. Quite wisely from Carson Keane. He's not going to allow it that easy for Brian to get the job done, which compromises Brian back a little bit there. Jave starting to drop Mr. James in P4 now, as Daniel's got another one up at his hit list. So Daniel's showing everybody how to get it done early in this race, and we might actually switch back to Daniel a second, because here he goes.
Let's see, inside line down towards turn 1. He should have this one done.
Swear.
But there's the trees, there's the car, and he's ahead. P5 now.
Chop these trees down, please, iRacing.
Whitfield.
We don't need them.
There are trees around the track, but seemingly, when you look at the pit lane in the background, there is nothing but ground. But we'll have to wait and see. Daniel Whitfield is now up into P5. He's about 1.8 seconds behind James Cunningham. Yeah, we'll see it inside line. At that point, if you're on the outside there into turn 1, you've got to rescind the position, because if you try and fight it, there is going to be a collision. And in the end, smart, wise driving from Mike Weir to let through the Englishman. He's now up into P5. He's got James Cunningham up next. But he's a bit of a train up for the lead, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, very close together. So once he catches the 4th place man, he'll be on this train for the lead.
Yeah, and so that's why he knows that he's got championship hopes still alive here. And you never give up. And Winston Churchill, never give up, never surrender. And of course, the British driver is not going to give up and surrender. And you never know, once again, if there's a tangle at the front here with these drivers, because they are very close here, you know that Robert's not going to want to yield this P1. Carlson's going to want to take the P1. Brian is hanging in there after his motivational drive of recent, getting that podium position. So he's also foaming at the mouth, as Daniel Ricciardo say, not for a shoey, but for a race victory. Carlson's now starting to apply it. Overtake on. This is when one of the first times we've witnessed Carlson using it, and he's going to use it to his advantage. And will he get the overtake on Robert and resume himself fastest lap back into the lead where Carlson likes to be? What are we looking at the moment? Yeah, we have about 15 minutes to go. So I guess he's got the call up to say, yeah, it's time to get a move on. And it is time to get a move on for Brian too, if he wants to think about this race win. Because once again, look at that, Carlson's starting to pull away already. And Brian knows this, and Brian's challenging now.
Yeah, he looks like he might go for the outside line into turn 5. We've seen incidents here before with this exact line, but not so this time around. Brian trying a bit of an up and under, but not going to work out for him. But yeah, Carson Keane looking for his 5th win in 6 races in this championship, which means that, of course, he will drop his only non-win result, which means the 5 results that count is win, 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 which is just an incredible run of form for the Canadian driver. But Brian, he does look keen, doesn't he, to get through the carousel. He's got a long, long way to go in this race, but he knows that if he can get through on Robert Ridgway, he's got a chance. He's not exactly had the best of seasons so far, not had a podium at all. I think his best result came in the opening round where he finished, if I am not wrong, in P6 or P5, one of the two, but this is a very good result for him if he finishes in the top 3.
Yeah, and once again, he knows at this point, this is the most critical part of the race with 14 minutes to go, that Keane is getting away. So if Brian wants a race win right now, he has to get rid of Robert Ridgway. He has to overtake him. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, you can pretty much throw that race victory away. And then Robert, of course, is going to fight tooth and nail to keep that P2, do that fastest lap now out of the way. No, Brian just can't get it committed there, can he? He doesn't have the overtake either. He's limiting his overtake, but he's done the switcheroo here, but that's going to send a dummy up the inside. I don't know if he can fully commit to it. He'll lose the exit speed. Once again, good defense there from Robert. You got to look at Daniel just in the background there as well, too, is about to get a move on James very soon, because his last lap was a lot quicker, but we'll keep an eye on this battle for now. Now, that's compromised Brian big time. Ooh. Oh, no, he's lost a little bit there. He's going to lose his 2 places. Even another one, yes. Oh, that's horrible. The boss man pushing it, and now he's dropped all the way down to P8, P9, perhaps, after the 2 come through here. That's got to hurt, isn't it?
Very quickly, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, with a season with not too many good results, this was on for him. Maybe even a P2, if not a win. But look at that, slightly wide, gets back onto the track, and maybe the bump as he rejoins.
Daniel's gone off track here too,
spinning around.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what Brian.
Yeah, just keeps it alive, the car, in a straight line, but not the. I can see Brian again, and yeah, it must have been a bump rejoining the track, and it's just unsettled the car and put him towards the wall. He's kept it out of the wall, which is the most important thing, but he has lost a handful of positions as he runs through. But now we look to see him, down in P9 behind Cody and McFarland. Of course, McFarland, who was nowhere in this race, Sifka helped him out. Here comes Daniel Whitfield. He, all of a sudden, is chasing after a podium once again. He was last after that collision at turn 5 where he sent it down the inside. It didn't quite come off for him. And he collided with Carson Key and Christian Jasper, that was it, involved in the collision.
I wonder if Brian's going to try to take two here. He's got one. Ooh. So he got Cody. I just wanted to see if he wanted to take Seth at the same time there, but wisely backed off, especially knowing. Peters just got past Andy. So
oh, no.
Oh, is Brian off again?
He's just...
Yes.
Yeah, Brian's just had another moment on the exit. Can't get back on the track. Is he stopping on the... What Brian's doing? He stopped on the track here. Just a wheel too far off and back on the grass. And yeah, that's not the straight and narrow that you want to be on. And I think Brian
go back in the pit
road. A retirement because he's in the pit lane there.
Oh, you can't retire, boss man. You're setting an example to the rest of the field. Anyway, it's okay. Daniel's had to back off a little bit here. He's pushed. Maybe he's used all his overtake. 11 minutes to go. If he hasn't, he should start using it because James, you'd have to give it to him, really. He's been a quiet achiever. He hasn't necessarily, I've been looking at his lap times. He hasn't necessarily been the quickest, but he has been consistent and he has been staying out of trouble and could very much be on a podium for that, gaining 4 positions in this race. You can't go wrong with that.
Absolutely not. And also someone to look out for is currently the man in P5 is Andy Yeager, because he's not had the greatest of seasons either. Currently down in P11 overall, but just behind a couple of the guys in the intermediate split, Anthony Zeich, Anthony Wilborn, Peter Fedding and Seth McFarland. He might be able to gain ahead of quite a few of the drivers after this race, and particularly Samuel Marr. He's not here this evening, so, you know, if you don't turn up, you're going to lose loads of points on your rivals, and that might be what Andy Yeager can do. He might even find himself looking at P6, P7 after this round, with only 2 more to go. Rebel Ring and Interlagos, they will surely be fantastic races. Of course, Rebel Ring, a great single-seater racetrack in any kind of single-seater category, and Interlagos as well, similar in that nature. But
Interlagos, the best track. James and I agree. Best track of all the tracks, it's Interlagos.
It's nice, it's fun, it's compact.
You can go side by side through that whole track. I've seen it before.
Oh, absolutely.
Not many tracks you can go side by side with the whole track. Of course, every single corner. Yeah, can.
Incidentally, actually, I think I was covering Zach on another stream a few weeks ago, and it was an Interlagos race in some touring cars, and arguably the best race I've ever commentated on. It was fantastic, and hopefully the Simpletons will give us something similar. Daniel Whitfield looked for it there, didn't he? Up the inside, but thought better of it.
The biggest problem that Daniel has right now is he's got 10 minutes, and when you got to commit to a dummy, we're going to commit. He's got the overtake on 60 seconds now. He's going to start burning this because he knows his time's running out here to try to take. And James as well too is probably. See if James is flashing. If James is going to use it to defend. Oh, Daniel has to commit to this. He's got to allow enough space. Close the door, James has. This is the biggest problem I'm about to say, because Daniel, if you're going to commit to an overtake now, if you're going to put your nose up on the inside somewhere, you're going to have to fully commit to it. Otherwise, you've scrubbed too much speed, and then you don't have time at the moment to keep trying to shave half a second every lap. And James is well aware of that here, running in that. But he wants to hold on to that podium position. A little bit of a lock up there, but then again, it'll actually throw Daniel off for his pace, exiting the corner as well. This would be some fantastic racing between these two drivers. I'll see if I go to the external camera here like that, because I want to see if you see that light flashing on the top if they're using that overtake. Daniel's about running out of overtake now. He's probably only got less than 15 or so seconds. We don't know. I think James probably might have a bit, really, at the end of the day, because he's been so lonely, he hasn't really had to use it. Now he could use it to defend.
Yeah, not a good run for Daniel through the carousel either. We'll have to see what he can do. But, I mean, a scratch here for Daniel might be just plain and simple, trying to scare Cunningham off the road. Maybe.
Yeah, they're both using it. See?
Yep,
James is using it. Has to defend.
Yeah, down towards kind of the corner.
There's going to be.
Outside
line. Late breakers.
Late braking.
Yep.
but not quite able to do it. James Cunningham, very good defence, isn't it, down the inside there. Daniel Whitfield tried it around the outside, didn't have enough room, didn't have enough pace, didn't have enough grip through the corner, and he has to stay behind in P4. He will not have much of that overtake left to at his disposal, I should say.
I wonder
the timer continues to tick down. 8 minutes to go or so. James very much defending the inside. Daniel Whitfield, though, is going to come around the outside here. Can he make it this time around at turn 1? Oh, there's contact. Somehow Daniel Whitfield's in a straight line just about. But there was contact there. Did Cunningham turn in late? Did Whitfield turn in early? We didn't really see that. We might.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it for Daniel. He's got to focus on keeping this P4 because he's got Andy Jaeger down the road there. So yeah, he's just got to get it cool, calm, collective. I would just say at the end of the day, you've gone for it, and yeah, there's contact a little bit. He was going around the outside. I'd say it's straightforward. James is defending as much as possible, and they've just come together. Daniel's very lucky not to get spun around there at that point, so he can still secure that P4.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Granted, you got to give it everything to go for it. It's very hard. James is not an easy customer to get around, so and that was it. So. He tried and didn't quite work, but a P4 is still better. It's still something.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, in the championship picture, of course, he will pick up, I think, quite a few points in the end.
Oh,
yeah, he'll have to take
that's a rare mistake from Carson. He's in the lead of this race. Where's Zachary? Zachary will always like, every time I switch to the race leader, Zachary's like, okay, yeah, shouldn't the race leader do something now if you're going to do a caster curse? I said to the other, well, it happened. And every single time Zach's not here, I can make it happen. It's actually because of Zach. It really is. It's because of Zach. Brian can join. Brian can join us actually if he wants. We got 5 minutes left of this race. Brian, if you are listening, of course, come in. The boss man has retired. No doubt. I liked his perspective on how it has been to racing. That mistake is now bringing Robert into play. Now, it depends on how much, really, overtake that Robert has. You can see he's not using it at the moment. There's your green light. And that rare mistake from Carson Keane could have very much, maybe, potentially thrown him. One thing to catch, it's another thing to overtake, but isn't it? Carson's not going to be very easy to overtake from Robert. Brian, you are here.
Oh no.
Let us boss man, what happened?
Oh, I'm so tired. I've been traveling for holidays and I drove for 4.5 hours this morning, so it was so much fun trying to keep with those two, but I just lost my focus and it was getting bad, so I was like, all right, we've had enough safety cars. I'm going to just do the grid of service and park it for now.
You're doing well, actually, weren't you? Up in P3 for quite a while. And yeah, it was just that little mistake, wasn't it, at turn 5 that lost you quite a lot of those positions. Then, of course, through turn 3, he lost it again. But again, good with the front guys because they are quite similarly paced, aren't they? As they run through, because we're still seeing Robert Ridgway. Is he gaining a little bit on this lap? I'm not sure. I think it's about pretty even with Carson Keane. But yeah, they are going for it at the moment. Carson Keane very much looking like he's going to put one hand on that trophy this evening.
Yeah, this track is that way. It's fun. Everyone too is catching up in pace.
I don't know if you just saw before, but Carsten made a rare error coming out of the corner. Which
I did.
It. What about Daniel? You have to give it to Daniel. I don't know if you're aware. Like Daniel slicing his way back through the field after that incident. Not sure if you're aware of that incident that occurred between the three drivers. And
I'm not. Kind of. I saw it happen in front of me, and turn 5's kind of where, like, if you're going to make a pass on this track, turn 5's probably the best place to do it. And so I saw all three going in, and I just kept thinking to myself, I was like, well, this is probably the first time they've had to do this season, so I hope they keep it cool and keep out of each other's way, but all I saw was smoke and a couple cars hit, and I drove by, so I'm not quite sure what happened as a result of that, but it's just racing.
Yeah, it looked like Daniel had carried too much speed on there, so he had to avoid it and go on the inside. And everybody, of course, was turning into the inside towards the left-hand corner, and then that was just a racing incident at that point. He came together with Christian Jasper, wasn't it? There, Dazza.
Everyone's been.
And then Carson was very lucky just to get pushed off the track there. That allowed Robert Ridgway to get into the lead. And then, of course, we had that caution. We had two cautions, of course, another one after that too.
I know. Everyone was so proud of themselves for no cautions all season and very low penalties, and steward reports have been almost non-existent, and today I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to do some work. Like, the steward's definitely gonna hand me a long. piece of
Daniel's
paper.
using his last bit of
Yeah,
overtake here. He's giving it everything he possibly
that's
can
wide.
to get past James, but you can see that red light. He's got nothing left. I think James still has a bit in the bank there because, once again, he hasn't been fighting with anybody. James has sort of pretty much been a lonely P4 for some time, no doubt, and then obviously we saw that incident before. So, yeah, that's it. So
There should be 2 laps to go now, I think.
It should be.
It should be 2.
And Brian, I mean, you are really pushing them as well too. Like, I mean, it just seemed. And actually, we saw a couple of drivers, including Daniels, have gone off at that very location where you got off. The only problem is, like, they managed somehow just to keep it straight. But you hit that bump, I think, didn't it? And push your car around. And
I love this track. It's as you can see from everybody doing it. It's one of those tracks where like the open wheel cars just love it here, and it pushes you so close to the limit that as soon as you step over, you're in the grass or going around, and everybody's doing it. But also because we're all so close in pace, we're pushing each other, and so because we're pushing each other, contacts being made, we're rubbing wheels. Even Carson's feeling it. I can tell. You can see how he's driving. He's having to defend, and it's good. It's really good.
yeah,
It was very nice.
This is one of the
Biggles
things.
to show Brian's moment again.
Yeah, I know, of
On the
course.
stream as he was talking.
I mean, I'm curious to ask Carson, obviously, at the end of the interviews, if he wants, about how much overtake he has left. I'm pretty sure he has, because he was, when they were applying the pressure to him at the start, both drivers were, you can see that right now. James is using
I bet he has a full lap left.
Yeah, and see, James is using his overtake to defend. This is what I keep saying. Formula One need this rather than that DRS, or at least use DRS only a few times per race. Use it to defend and attack, because in times like this is where it pays off. Daniel's had to use all his overtakes to get up through the field, right, into his position where he is P4 right now. And of course, James hasn't had to use it, therefore that he can sit there and use it to defend. So it's a great strategy play with this overtake system. Final
He's
lap.
still very close here, isn't he? He might even
gone.
go for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's gone for
final
it
lap might
again.
go for it into turn 1. Not quite this time. But again, last time, he's not got any more opportunities in turn 1. He's got to look for it in turn 5, you'd have thought. But he's got to get a good exit through 3 here. And then through under the cheese bridge on the track down the Moraine Sweep. Has Daniel Whitfield got enough to take a podium here? He does look like he is gaining down this straight.
Oh.
It is slow, but it is steady, and there's long enough. Is he going to go for the outside line? He is.
Oh.
He's going to dive to the inside. Oh, that could be contact. He's gone
It
very,
is.
very deep. That is him off of the road. That is him
Uh-oh.
out of the race.
Yep.
Daniel Whitfield out of the race completely. And that's just from trying to make it up into P3. He didn't consolidate the points he had. And that is going to further hand the opportunity for this man.
And
Carson
Cunningham's
Keane,
going to
to
drop
take the
like
title.
out of this one too. So yes, Brian, I think you're going to have a lot of reports coming up about that one. And I'm sorry to the Whitfield family out there. That may have been a little bit too eager from Daniel there. He could have settled for a nice P4. And now he's settling for a retirement. So now I give him credit for a big charge back through the field. But that itself there is slow down a little bit. Boy, be happy with the P4. And because you're going to have a very upset James now, no doubt about that.
Another man to look out for is Andy Yeager. Of course, he's up into P3 after being right at the back of the field, but neither him nor anyone else has come close in the last 10-15 minutes to Carson Keane. He made a little bit of a mistake, but for the 5th time in 6 races this season, Carson Keane has won in the Sim Racing for Simpletons Super Formula League, and he takes home what was, in the end, probably a deserved win. It wasn't without incident, it wasn't without a little bit of argy-bargy, but he has won. Robert Ridgway in P2, and Andy Yeager will finish in P3 and on the podium. He could shoot himself up in the championship come this evening, I should say, when all the distributing and all the results are finalised. Mike Weir, Seth MacFarlane, and Petter Fedding in 4th, 5th, and 6th. Have finished the race nicely there with Andy Cody, and then Christian Jasper down in P8. That will not be his favourite result this season, but of course Daniel Whitfield just out of the race. James Cunningham and Brian Long as well, not seeing the flag, but there are your race results. Carson Keane is your winner. He puts another hand on that title. Robert Ridgway did the best he could by not winning and finishing in P2. Andy Yeager P3. He should shoot up that championship. Mike Weir, Seth MacFarlane, Petter Fedding, Andy Cody, Christian Jasper, Daniel Whitfield, James Cunningham, and Brian Long are the 11 who took the start, I should say. And Biggles, I mean, Carson Keane, surely it's going to be almost impossible to beat him now in the championship.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, that was a race that even he had to struggle with, as we heard from Brian. And he's been, very dominating this season, kind of just driving up the front there, making it look like it's, like he's got the racing line on and traction control or something like that, and everybody else has theirs turned off. But this race, he had to earn that. He had to earn it. So, well done to it. Of course, a true champion, isn't it? Has to grind it out sometimes. It doesn't come easy. Carson Keane, aka Max Verstappen, kind of this season, isn't it? The dominating form. I don't know. We're waiting to see if anyone's going to be coming in for an interview. I don't know if we're going to get anybody in for an interview because there might be some heated drivers that might need to cool down at the moment. They probably are going out at the moment, isn't it? Just jumping out of their racing rigs or whatever and taking some deep breaths after everybody essentially getting involved in one way or another, an incident. I don't know if was there a driver out there? Maybe Mike Weir. We didn't really get to choose the number 20.
Yeah.
I don't think
so. I think the only person that I can think of that didn't have an incident is Mike Weir. Peter Fedding was relatively quiet, and Andy Cody as well. But apart from that, everybody else was involved in an incident in one way or another throughout the race. I mean, Seth MacFarlane as well. He's recovered to P5, and what was a fantastic recovery from him. As we see, that is the spin.
That was the first corner from... That was James, remember?
I can't...
James Cunningham.
Yes, that was James.
Yeah, and you got to remember too that that's on lap 1, and he's plump last at this point. I remember he got his way all the way up into P3 until, of course, that final lap incident with. I mean, I'd have to say to blame Daniel on that one. Sorry, Daniel, but just it looked like a little bit too eager there and had taken out the opportunity for James to get a podium. But as race control to deem that finally, and this, of course, was the famous incident that we are all aware of. That, Carson Keane, of course, and Christian Jesper. At that point, I say Daniel had to avoid the collision. So, if he didn't, he would have been up the. He would have broken the rear wing of Christian Jesper for sure.
It's definitely one that the stewards are going to debate for quite a while over, I reckon. So we'll have to wait on that one. But let's try and see if we can get some of the drivers in to see how they felt that race went.
Daniel without a front wing.
Carson Keane, of course, won the race. Yeah, that's Daniel going wide. That might have been behind the safety car, actually.
Oh, there it is. Yes,
ooh.
That's where. So Peter, this was an incident between Peter and whoa. We didn't realize all this happened under the caution.
We never saw that, did we? Yeah, we never saw that.
Oh, Daniel's going to be having a lot of reports here at the moment, I'd say. He's been in the wars of a lot of people today. That looked a bit... I don't know what's going on there. That's something that they're going to be...
Went up in the air, made contact. Who was that he made contact with there? Was that...
It was a bunch of people here, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, who didn't he make contact with in the end? But, yeah.
Trying to see.
That bounces up and then, I think, just loses the rear end, yeah, and then makes contact with the... on the left.
It starts around here, I think, with Peter. Let's have a look. We'll just hide those results off the screen here for a second.
Oh, yeah. Whereas in that red car's like almost defending position behind safety car.
It's Daniel's already got no front wing. He because he already lost it before. He's accelerated to go in front, like they've lifted off to say go past. It's weird, and then because of the bump, he's had to take, unfortunately, another driver out. That was Mike Weir, I think. So, yeah, see, Mike was also in it.
There we go, then.
There's Mike Weir that slowed down here to avoid that. I believe that's Peter, wasn't it? Or Seth. I don't know. I didn't realize all this happened under the caution. I don't think we're going to get any drivers at the moment, mate, because I kind of realize that probably a few drivers. This is a fantastic racing league, but it seems to me that a few drivers are like, yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody at this point, which is probably the best.
We've got a few in the interview rating room at the moment.
Oh, we do? I can't even see.
Yeah, we do. We've got Carson Keane. Is there a way we can drag them in?
There. My scroll thing's not working. That's the reason why. Okay. Yeah. You can drag me. Yes, go ahead. Whatever you like.
There we go. Carson Keane, good evening. Congratulations on the win again. Your 5th win in 6 rounds, so imperious form. Wasn't the easiest. I mean, there was a couple of collisions in there, particularly for the first caution. But are you pleased with how the race went overall?
Yeah, it was exciting. I'll say that. I was just rewatching the first incident in between. I think it was Daniel and Christian maybe. And
Yeah.
just trying to, I wasn't sure if I could do much there. I saw Daniel coming in, and I was just about to turn in to the left there and saw him saw him make a dive and tried to turn back right, but I knew I had Christian on the other side, so I wasn't trying to go too far right. So anyway, came out of it with a little bit of damage and had to run down Robert, and then I made a number of mistakes at Canada Corner for whatever reason. But honestly, pleased with the race. It was a lot of fun. Racing with Brian as well after the safety cars there. So was really enjoying those couple little battles we had.
Yeah, because you had to defend and attack, didn't you, in this race? In all stages, really. You weren't. I mean, towards the end, you were alone a bit at the front, but you made that mistake again, like you said, at Canada Corner, and it brought Robert Ridgway onto the back of you a little bit. But you had to overtake some people, you've had to defend. So, pole to win doesn't necessarily tell the full story, but I mean, one of the more enjoyable races of the season.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. I think that was probably my favorite race, and I kind of had that idea going into Road America with the long straights they have, and with the push to pass or overtake system, and just the draft on these cars. I knew it was I was hoping it was going to be some good battles and some good dive bombs and stuff like that. So
I'm curious. Congratulations, Carson. I'm curious. How much did you have of your overtake by the end of the race?
Left? I was running low, like 10 seconds maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was thinking about trying to push a little bit more to break away from Robert, but I was then kind of worried about another safety car and needing to defend or whatnot. So I was trying to keep it in the back pocket, and luckily that was the last safety car and worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done again, because you have been on some pretty hot form this season. 5 wins from 6. Of course, you've dropped around where you finished on the podium, which is mightily impressive for you. So congratulations, and hopefully you're looking forward to the Red Bull Ring next week. Of course, you could try and win the title there.
Yeah, absolutely looking forward to Red Bull. I think it's going to be another track where off tracks come into play, and the drive-throughs are pretty strict on this league, which I really enjoy. Keeps us honest. So looking forward to Red Bull, and I think it's Brazil for the last round, which as well, Interlagos is going to be a lot of fun in this car.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you got anything else you want to ask Biggles at all?
Sorry?
Is there anything else you wanted to ask, Carson?
Oh, no, it's fine. Carson, yeah, congratulations, my friend. You may be, we'll have to do the math on that one, but obviously that Drivers' Championship Trophy, looks like it's already got CAR engraved on it. From Carson.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, anybody you'd like to thank there, Carson, before we let you go?
Just as usual, I want to thank you guys. I really enjoy watching the broadcast back. I think the whole community does. Thank Brian for organizing, and thank the guys for a fun race. It was enjoyable.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you again for joining. And yeah, good luck next week. I think you're going to have, if my maths says, never trust a commentator's maths, you should have 26-point lead on Robert Ridgway if the results stay as they are. Into the next round, and of course you could win it there, but you got to pull it out a little bit more, and with the point system it might be a little bit difficult, but you've definitely got a hand on the trophy. So congratulations, and we'll probably see you next week.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Excellent. So you want to Carson, can you want to pull in Robert, and then we'll do Andy? So we'll go the podium. We won't, but there's a lot of other people in the chat room, but they're probably debating about that. So yeah, we'll
pull in Robert quickly.
Pull in Robert, yes, exactly, because it was an interesting race for Robert. Curious to see what all panned out.
Yeah, Robert, good evening. Congratulations, P2 for you. I think the highlight of your race surely has got to be going from P4 to P1 at turn 5 and just seeing the other 3 skittle away in front of you.
Yeah, it was a nice get out of jail free card, or advance to go collect your P1. I liked it. It was nice. And then after that first caution, green lights go, I just dumped all of the push to pass I could, and I felt like I got a little bit of a gap, and then the second caution came out immediately, and I was like, oh, that was wasteful.
Yeah, but you did really well, actually, because you got off the road. Yeah, actually, go ahead, Dazza.
I was going to say, did you feel, because we saw Carson made a couple of mistakes, particularly at Canada Corner, Did you feel like you maybe had a chance towards the end because there were a couple of laps where you gained a bit and then you stayed in that like 1.4 second gap-ish towards the end? Did you think you could try and take the lead at the end?
Man, I feel like I was being pretty perfect, probably low standard deviation if somebody did some math. Like I was like, I could only hope for more mistakes from him. I couldn't get it going any quicker, but it was push, and I say I'm going to win every week, and I thought I could. I was really believing it that time. I was doing breathing exercises trying to catch him.
Fair enough. Well, you nearly did. Did you have a question, Biggles?
I don't. I mean, obviously that paid out. Obviously, that was a bad thing. That's actually what Carson was saying just before the interview, my friend. He said he was saving a lot of his battery, overtake at the start because he was afraid if another caution car came out, and if he's dumped it all. And that seems like you've dumped, because I'm looking at the moment here on a
as many straights as in a row as I could.
Yeah, you could see you got 160 seconds already. We're talking only about the second lap or something like that when you're dumping it. But that was when the incident occurs a little bit later, and then you're like bang into P1, of course, the safety car, another great launch, of course, to keep. And you fought Carson for quite some time, didn't you? Really, to keep him behind, but then eventually Carson managed to get the overtake on you. And
yeah, I put up some good defense, and it like the strategy was after the first caution was like, let me dump this, and Long was on Keen, and so I was like, maybe Long will dump Keen, or somebody will mess up there. I'll get even more space. Who knows? And you just drive it home. But then the second caution came out, then Keen got by, then Long was on me, and then Long spun, and I was like, no, come on, Brian. And then it was like try to catch Keen, and yeah, his little mistakes let me get a little bit closer and just carried on a stick with like a second and a half at the end.
We're just looking at the replay at the moment of that moment, where they all come together into the turn, and you're like, woo, bang, zip on by, and then of course
I'm all for an opportunity, right?
Yeah, and then you get the notification like safety car, which at that point Carson was just behind you, so then the caution car came out, and all right. And then I wanted to just go back and have a look at the moment that you were battling with him for the overtake. But yeah, I don't have any more questions. Deza?
Oh yeah, congratulations. I mean, it's another good result. I mean, because you got lucky in terms of the fact that you gained the positions, but you've got to be in the right place at the right time, and you had good enough pace at the start of that race to be there. So you fully deserved to be where you were, and fully deserved a P2 in the end, and consolidated P2 in the championship as well, because some of the other guys slightly behind you in the championship, particularly Daniel Whitfield and Christine Jasper, had a mare this evening. So you've gained away from them a decent little bit. So onwards and upwards. Are you looking forward to the Red Bull Ring next week?
Yeah, it's like my best track. It's the first track I ever won a race, like a league race on in F3 a couple years ago. So that's the one I should be hot in. And then it was I can't remember. I had another thing I was to say, but yeah, that was a good time. I'm glad to get a little bit of space from Whitfield. I don't think we're catching Keen. Oh, it's the lucky thing. If I get lucky all the time, it might be talent. You know what I mean?
I tell you, now you got to be at the right place at the right time when it comes to motor racing. You were. I'm just having a look at the.
I've been lucky this season. It's great.
That's good. Great. You're great. And I was just looking at the overtake, and that was Carson Keen just using that overtake button and then just zipped on by down the main straight. I noticed you didn't use the overtake at that point to do defend. Was that when you had none left in the bank, or?
I think I maybe had like 80 seconds or less left, or close to 40. And then I just used it all like second to last lap and two straights, like the back straight and the front straight. But man, he was like 4 seconds up, and then I closed the door in a half. So it was he had to have messed up a bit.
Yeah, and he made a mistake on one of the corners.
Oh, here's Long.
Yeah. So that doesn't happen very often, but he did make a mistake and to bring you back in it. But congratulations. Is anybody you'd like to thank there, Robert?
Shout out to Brian for having his mistake, because he was very scary in the mirror. I was like, this guy's pushing it. He's getting better every week. And thank you guys for the broadcast. Shout out to the league, Brian, of course, again for the league stuff, and the fam for letting have a little fun out here. Y'all have a good rest of your weekend.
Thank you. That was Robert Ridgway.
Yeah, you too, and well done. Well done.
Keeping his championship dreams just alive, but it's still there. That's all that matters.
Yeah, he mentioned a carrot on his stick, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what the championship is for the moment. But then we'll interview Andy Yeager, of course. Finished P3 on the podium, an eventful race. And Andy, congratulations on the P3. Did you necessarily think you're going to be on the podium after that incident in the early stage of the race?
No, not really. I had also a 5-minute tow. So I was already thinking, well, that's it. But then the second safety car came. And then I thought, okay, you're back. Let's see what it will bring. And I was P5. I was kind of happy with that. I thought, okay, P5 coming back from, I think, P last. So, and then in the last lap they crashed. So that was P3.
Yeah, absolutely. Because of course, you had a couple of incidents under the safety car.
Yeah.
There was an incident. What happened there from your perspective? Because we didn't see it originally. We saw it when we were looking at some replays after the race. So, from your perspective, what happened in the end there?
Yeah, I was just closing in, and I was P4 at the moment, so I had all room. And Peter came in a bit hard and tapped me from behind.
No, it was Daniel actually that tapped you.
It was Daniel. No,
Yeah,
it was first Peter,
yeah.
I think, and he went wide into the grass, came back, and we just talked about it with Daniel as well. And Daniel was told to pass Peter, so he didn't know where Peter was anymore. And so he wanted to pass, and then Peter hit him, and he hit me, and so I was pretty frustrated at that time because it was the first, real decent race from me.
We're looking at it right now. You can see that because you see Peter slows down. They locked up just before. Peter slows down to allow, obviously, Daniel to go through, and then that's with the confusion. And then unfortunately, there was a tag, and you were the unfortunate victim of all that. This race had so many dilemmas, and even under the safety car, we had dilemmas. So what a race! But still, you got to be happy with that P3, my friend. After
I definitely am. It's the best result of the season. I felt good on the practice. I was a second faster than I was in my own practices. So it's finally clicking with this car, I think. So all to play for, and for next season, I hope to be in contention for more podiums.
Excellent. Anybody you'd like to thank there before you let you go there for the Dutch driver?
Well, in this case, let's focus on Brian. He does a lot for us. He organizes a lot, and also for next season, it looks promising with the combined leagues. Brian, I think he deserves that. He deserves that shout out.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Yeah, well,
guys.
thank you, Andy. And well done on the P3, good result, and it should move you up nicely in the championship as well. You might even find yourself as high as
we still got
P6, I think.
2 races to go, I think. So, let's see.
Absolutely. Anything's possible.
All right, cheers, guys.
Well done, Andy, and next week, depending on how it all unfolds. But I think we can wrap this one up now. Biggles, any summaries of the race? I mean, Carson Keane, surely title in the hands now.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, considering the race that we had today, where it all went topsy-turvy, anything can still happen. So Carson just needs to, have a nice couple of clean races, and it surely should be his. These other drivers, of course, are now going to start. You're starting to see it, aren't you? You're starting to see risks that drivers are starting to take gambles a little bit more because they realize this, the last chances of their championship hopes are there. So I expect it to get a little bit more spicy the next couple of rounds. So make sure out there you do hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bells so that you do capture the final couple of races, because it's definitely going to be a main event, really, at the end of the day, because all these other drivers, Carson Keane's going to have them in his mirrors, and they're going to be out for blood. They want to potentially try to get the trophy. And Carson's going to have the one that really is going to be able to look at, isn't he? He's going to feel like he's going to be bullied, isn't he, by everybody else on track. And all Carson needs to do is what he's been doing all season. Put it on pole, take it clean through the first couple of turns, and just drive on up the road there, and it should easily have the victory.
Yeah, he's going to have everyone on the back of him. Of course, he's the only one who is going to go into the last 2 rounds with something to lose because he is the man that they are all chasing. But of course, as Biggles mentioned, you won't want to miss it next week when we're going to be at the Red Bull Ring and then the week after at Interlagos for the championship finale of the Sim Racing for Simpletons Super Formula League. My thanks to Biggles for joining me this evening. My thanks to everyone who has watched and who has been in the chat. But of course, we will be back, as we've mentioned, in 7 days' time in the Sim Racing for Simpletons Championship. But we will see you when we return. We hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And we will see you when Sim Racing for Simpletons returns in Austin. In Austin? In Austria. My apologies.